I knew the couple, and they needed a place to live.
And so that's the reason that you told her she had to leave, not because she had destroyed your property,
No,
correct?
that's wrong. No, she destroyed my property.
Well, if your property was destroyed, why did you tell her 5 minutes earlier she should stay?
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So what on earth makes you believe, as a landlord, that you're entitled to kick someone out of a place on 1 day notice?
Because she was destroying my property.
Does not matter, ma'am. You're a landlord. You have obligations under California law. Now, I'd love to see anything showing that she ruined the property. Anything at all. Any photograph, any text message, any repair bills. What do you have?
Just my memory of what went on in the house.
Your memory. Okay. Let's pretend you gave her some magical notice that you have no proof of several days in advance of her vacating.
Well, I know it should be 30 days.
Correct. And you deliberately did not do that. Why?
I can't remember if I did or if I didn't, but I know I gave her notification.
Okay, you gave her 1 day notice, and you have no proof of anything to the contrary.
Correct.
And what I have from you is text messages on December 5th saying, if you leave today, so less than a full day's notice, then you can expect more. I assume you mean more money back. Incredibly, the plaintiff is worried about cleaning the room instead of the fact that she's being illegally evicted. And then you say to her, the longer you put off this moving out, same day you've asked her to move, the less you get back. Remember, I'm the owner and I make the decisions whether you agree or not. And then the plaintiff said, you just told me last night to stay, and now you're telling me to leave in 1 day. And you write, I changed my mind. Explain.
I just felt the house was being destroyed and I had to go fix it.
And by the way, here are some more text messages. The door to my bedroom was changed. Attorney said it was okay to change the locks to get you out. You called a lawyer who told you that?
I can't remember if I did.
I'm not surprised. You don't have to be a lawyer with any specialty in this area of law to know that a landlord is not allowed to lock their tenant out. And I don't believe for a minute that any attorney told you that.
I didn't lock her out.
Attorney said it was okay to change the locks to get you out. Because just a few minutes ago, when I said, do you have any evidence of these things? You said, yes, I have my memory. Now when I'm asking you to stand by the things that you wrote, you say, well, I can't remember that. It's a problem in this mystery house, right? Things just seem to happen without any explanation. We know we can't rely on your memory, and you don't want us to rely on the writings. And I wanted to read those because one of the claims here is punitive damages, which I construe as essentially being a punishment for conduct that is so extreme and outrageous that it is not sufficient to simply compensate her for her damages, but that there's a need to punish you for what you've done. And so I wanted to make sure we had those text messages in the record before we decide whether that's necessary here. So if anyone else has any questions.
Nope.
I'm good. We're going to excuse the parties while we deliberate in this matter.
This courtroom is now in recess.
To me, the case is crystal clear. The defendant exhibited a callous disregard to her responsibilities and treated the plaintiff bordering on cruelty.
Yeah.
Which means to me that I think there's going to be some discussion between us as to the punitive aspects that the plaintiff has been asking for. I think she's entitled to her prorated rent. That's clear,
Absolutely.
$800. As far as the property damage, that's $1,000 that she's asking for. I understand there are photographs of it. I would give her the $1,000 for that, and I would return her security deposit.
I'm without words. I'm shocked at how the defendant swore that she was telling the truth, and we caught her in multiple lies. So, I mean, her credibility is shot. But as far as the punitive damages are concerned, I would give her the max. I think that this defendant was egregious. I wouldn't know what to do if someone said, you're staying, and then in the same day, minutes later.
Call your mother.
And I believe she did
and
that.
tell your mother,
That she's a stripper. You don't do that.
We see litigants in here every day who say they want punitive damages. We almost always find that what they think is extreme and outrageous is not as extreme and outrageous as we believe it needs to be. Here, I believe the defendant's conduct was even more extreme and outrageous than even the plaintiff was claiming.
I think we're free to say $5,000 covers the causes of action, including punitive.
And we'd give you more if we could.
Yes.
We have a verdict.